Welcome back to Networking Now. I'm your host, Jen Potter, and I am joined with Ingrid Perez. Before the break, we were talking about her niche in immigration law and how interesting it is that there is so many opportunities for entrepreneurships from around the globe to come and live the American dream and be able to do it in a way that they're able to start their business and do something that they really love. So welcome back, Ingrid. Thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me, Jen.
Absolutely. So we were talking about the fact that there are different types of visas that are available for entrepreneurs and saying that, there are certain types of businesses that are abroad that, they can take their business and they can come over here. We talked about water, we talked about infrastructure, we talked about, cable and accessibility. And I'm really interested to know what types of examples of successful businesses that have come over and have been able to create the business of their dreams here in the United States?
Yeah, I love this question because it just brings me back to the cases that I've done. So I can give you some examples. The first one that comes to mind is I worked on an EB2 national interest waiver petition for an entrepreneur actually in real estate. Now, this was a tricky case because real estate, really, what is the benefit, right, of working in real estate? But he had a very niche business endeavor. And what he did is he had a portfolio of homes, and it was really a property management and rehabilitation business. But he invested in mobile homes in urban areas, and he rented these mobile homes to low income families. And the argument there is that, hey, we have a housing crisis in the United States. It's something that you see on the news all the time, right? How home prices are going up, affordability is going up. So he worked on, his business was specifically geared towards renting affordable homes in bustling urban areas for single mothers, people who just came out of prison that need a home to resettle in and build their lives back up. And that was his endeavor, and he was approved. So that was a really fun one to work on. Another one that comes to mind was one that actually a very dear client of mine. He fabricates. He has this amazing food fabrication company in his native country, and he makes this delicious organic yuca flour. It's gluten-free, it's minimally processed, it's organic, and he wanted to bring his business here to the United States. And we argue that the products that he's bringing is an alternative for people with celiac disease that have gluten intolerance, right? So you don't think of yuca flour when you're thinking of gluten intolerance, but you may now. It's an option that maybe you did not have before. And the argument there, obviously, we argue the importance of having options for people with gluten intolerance, and also how it would create culinary opportunities, right, for bakeries who want to use the yuca flour in their products. And things like that. So just, a little bit of the culinary arts innovation. And you wouldn't necessarily think of that, related to an entrepreneur endeavor. But that is, what is the benefit of his product here in the United States, And obviously for an entrepreneurial endeavor like that, he would be creating a lot of jobs, a lot of economic movement in the United States. And his case was approved. And he gives me yuca flour and all his other products all the time. And I see them in the shelves of the local supermarkets, and it's really neat.
Well, that is amazing. And you said something that truly touched me. So I have a gluten allergy, and I am very familiar with yuca flour, and it's one of my favorite root vegetables actually to eat. It dried. Oh my God, obsessed with yuca chips. So I love the fact that this is his business. And when we're off air, you're going to have to tell me a little bit about his business, because I'd also love to support it, because myself, I also bake for fun. I actually owned a pastry business in my past life. So I think that that's amazing. So as soon as you said this, I was like leaning in. I was like, ooh, I like this business already. I'm here to support it. But it's amazing, right? Because not everybody thinks of those things. People who don't have gluten intolerances, especially people in business, you don't have a gluten intolerance, you're not even going to think that a gluten-free bakery is something that's important. When I travel, all I do is think about where can I eat, right? Yeah. And so having options and having a specialty like that tastes really good and is a great option, I think that that's amazing. So I love that when it comes to, the different types of businesses and the creativity, especially the real estate business that you talked about, listening to the things that that he is doing, I feel like it goes above and beyond just that real estate. So I was really intrigued when you started to tell that story. And so, you have these businesses that have these opportunities to do all of these amazing things. How do those are some of the successful stories, and I'm sure that there are some that aren't successful as well, because just like any business, there are things that, aren't successful. But what are different types of strategies that you can suggest to these people who are coming over to start businesses to set them up for success?
Yeah, I think that is such an important question. I think that before anybody that wants to come to the United States, buy a house, put their kids in school, things like that, figure out the immigration process first. Plan way ahead because immigration is slow, it's bureaucratic, it's expensive, it's uncertain, right? So before you start settling roots and uprooting your entire family in your home country into the United States, make sure that you have set the foundation for their permanent stay here in the U.S. So I think number one is planning with an immigration attorney, is really important. Number two, start, to figure out where your business could thrive. Central Florida, for example, is a place that is booming right now, right? Prices are getting more expensive. So, it's important to know your demographics, study the market, do everything that you would do in your home country to make sure that your business is going to work, but do that in the United States. When you're a foreign national coming to the United States, you're learning an entire new set of rules, a new culture, a new way of doing business. So it's really important to become familiar with, your local market, who is going to be your target demographic, who are going to be your customers, your clients, your partners. That's all really important. And number three, I think it's really important to make sure that you work with professionals that can offer the right help to entrepreneurs. You're going to need an accountant, you're going to need an attorney, you're going to need insurance. All these things are really, really important to be set up for success. So I think it's just really important to plan ahead, be strategic with the decisions. It is going to be a very expensive, lengthy process, and you want to invest correctly in all aspects of the process.
And I think that's super important for all business owners. Like all the things that you touched upon, I think that they are so important to set yourself up for success. And if you don't understand what you need to do, obviously you have to seek counsel. I think it's so important, to find somebody who is able to guide you, such as yourself, especially in this realm. They need you to support them. But what I want to know is, how much harder is it for someone who is coming over here to start a business than someone who is already here? Because I'm sure, when I think about starting a business, I know how hard it is for me, but, what are the additional steps or the additional things that you have to jump through in order to obtain those visas and be able to have that successful business here in the United States?
Yeah, that's a really good question because, before you're able to really work in the United States, you have to have the appropriate permissions, right, through your visa. So there are other visa categories, like, for example, a B1, B2 visa, which is, a tourist visa or a business visa that allows you to come to the United States for a temporary amount of time to engage in business negotiations or business related activities. So you can come, figure out where you're going to set up shop, meet with attorneys, sign contracts, things like that. That specific visa allows you to do that. You cannot work on that visa, right? So it's very limited activities that you can do. There are a lot of people also who are in the United States studying, right? So I have a lot of people on student visas that are here taking some time off. Their businesses are abroad, running themselves. They're here in the United States and they see an opportunity and they're here with permission to stay as long as they're studying. So they start slowly setting up shop here, right? Figuring out where they're going to set up their business, start to engage with an immigration attorney, an accountant, things like that. So it's really important to be able to be in the United States with a visa and be aware of the limitations that whatever visa you're on has, right? Because non-immigrant visas, unless it's a specific work visa, does not give you authorization to work. So that's number one, really important. That's why, again, planning comes into play because for you to be able to get the green card, you have to figure out another way to be here in the United States with permission. That's not going to be in violation of your status. So that's really important. And I think, it is so critical to engage with an attorney early on, because these cases take sometimes, a couple of months, maybe 2 or 3, 4 months to put together. If you're an entrepreneur, you're going to have to set up, your shop here, open your LLC, open a bank account, transfer your money from abroad, make the investments you need to have your business somewhat operational, right? And create your business plan, study the market, do your financial analysis, all of that. And then we're not even talking about how long it takes the government to decide these cases. Sometimes you can ask for faster processing, sometimes you can't. And even then, there's still delays that can occur. So that is all really important to know. It's more of a behind the scenes sort of look at how, a person can eventually reach that goal of having permanent residency. And there's so many pieces to that puzzle. It's really important to make sure that, you have a 30,000-foot view of everything.
And I think that that's really important. And as a business owner, listening to you say all those things, I'm like, oh my goodness, all of these things are so important. And I know how overwhelming it could be for me. Never mind someone who is coming over here who speaks a different language. English may not be their first language. And then they have all of these additional things that they have to do. So thank goodness you exist, and you're what you do, you love, so you want to hold their hand, you want to walk them through the process, and you want to see them successful. So if you could tell our audience, how they can get a hold of you, the best way to contact you, and who specifically you're looking for.
Yeah, so anybody who wants to contact me can go to my website, which is ibplaw.com. It's Ingrid, B as in boy, P as in Peter, law.com, and all my contact information there. You can send me an email, send me a WhatsApp, give a call, give my office a call, and we can set up a consultation. And my ideal client is one that is sort of ready to pull the trigger, right? Somebody who is motivated, because what I say is that when you're doing these cases, you're not just hiring a lawyer and saying, okay, I'm going to forget about it. No, it is a partnership, right? We're going to be working together. It's a lot of work. So you have to be ready to invest the time that it takes to create a case that is quality, right? To help your attorney and listen to your attorney's advice to really create a case, a petition package that it has the best chances of approval. So, that's sort of the basics right there.
That was amazing. And these two segments went by so unbelievably fast. And I'm so happy that I had the opportunity to get to officially meet you and have you on the show today. And I look forward to our future shows with all of the additional things that you're working on and continuing to learn more and more about this. Because, like I said, as a business owner and as a person who is always out there in the community, I'm sure I have plenty of people that I will be able to refer to you in the future. And what you're doing is amazing and impactful and continuing to make a difference in this country. So thank you so much for being with me today, and I hope you have an amazing day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jen. You too.